Hey guys, lepedaler back with another video. Today I'll be giving you guys my thoughts and review on the 2021 TCR Advanced 2 Pro Compact. So without further ado, let's get right into this video. I just want to give a quick thank you to all my subscribers that have been liking the videos I've been posting and obviously subscribing to the channel and just helping the growth of the channel. It's really appreciated. In such a small time, we've grown so much, and I always tell everyone that is new and that eventually does like the videos and subscribe is that the whole goal of this channel is not only to share my cycling experiences, that we're going to talk about training, get some outdoor riding in, and also give you guys my thoughts on even some pro related content, but also a core aspect of this channel is getting bikes in hand, getting them tested, getting cycling products in hand and getting those tested. And that's only going to happen if you guys support the channel and help it grow. And the whole goal of that is because I do see a big lack of that on YouTube, where a lot of people are showing products that they might just ride around the block, or they're just talking about the specs. And as a consumer myself, I have struggled in the past when buying cycling equipment for my own use. It's hard taking a lot of the stuff that people say when they're just reading the description. So I do apologize in these videos that I don't physically have the bike in hand to actually test, but I ride a lot. I say this a lot, not to toot my own horn or brag, but I ride a lot. So once the channel gets to a point where companies are going to be reaching out so I can give a fair review and test of the bike, the content's only going to be better for you guys, and I'm going to have a better time enjoying making the content, because this content is what needs to get done at the moment to get you guys interested, to see if there's a real demand, which I totally do. So yet again, I'm super appreciative that you guys are actually liking the content, and once we keep growing, we're going to get bikes like the TCR Advanced 2 Pro Compact in hand, and we're going to test the hell out of it, and I'll give you guys my true thoughts after riding it. But as of right now, I'll give you guys my thoughts based on the specs, based on what I see. And yeah, channel's growing. It's looking really good, guys. And if you are a new subscriber, feel free to join the family, and you won't be disappointed. Honestly, I really do want to create an inclusive community on this YouTube channel. So you won't be disappointed with any of the content that I really post, especially if you really like geeking out on a lot of the cycling stuff that I talk about on my channel. You'll always have good content to digest. So let's officially get into this bike. Now, before we head over to the Giant website, I just want to say one thing, is that this quarantine hair will be gone very soon. But other than that, seriously now, I do have the TCR Advanced 2 myself, but that's the 2020 model. So I've already made a review on my channel about the bike. And basically, if we're looking at the TCR Advanced 2 Pro Compact, we're going to be on the Giant website right now. So if we're looking at it, it basically looks very similar to my bike that I currently have. I think they just changed, the color might be the exact same. I think mine's just a little bit more charcoal, where this one's a little bit, it might be actually black, but it's pretty much a piece for piece in terms of looks. Now, it does come in a unicorn white, which I do like white, but I had a bike, it was a Cervelo bike, and it was white. And if you know anything about bikes and the drivetrain, as soon as it gets greasy, marks are going to be on the frame. So that's one thing I didn't like about the white bike. You have to really keep that clean. But the carbon one, I really like. It reminds me, it pretty much is identical to my bike, but it has the new changes that Giant made for the TCRs for the 2021 bikes. So I already made a video, I think it's called Everything You Need to Know for 2021 TCRs on my channel. I'll link that in the description if you guys want me to go through all the models. And I do plan on going a little bit more in depth in about a week or so, or even faster than that. It really depends when I get around to it. But Giant had a whole Facebook live press conference about the TCR and all the engineering. So it's like a really in-depth, geeked out version of everything they did on the TCR, from manufacturing, from testing to layer, like carbon layer, like all the stuff that I enjoy, that I know a lot of you guys enjoy, they did in this this Facebook Live. So I'm gonna sit down and take notes and actually give you guys a summary of that and my thoughts on it. But just off the gun, from what the new TCR 2021 is all about, is that they made it more aerodynamic flare. So a lot of people have been commenting this as well, is that they're taking a lot of the aero bikes, and what makes aero bikes so nice is those extra aerodynamic benefits that you get. and they're trying to merge that into the all-around lightweight bike. So, Giant's not the first company. They're a little bit late to the game, but companies like Specialized with the Tarmac, making it a little bit more aerodynamic, as well as Cannondale with their Super 6 Evo. They take inspiration from the System 6 and add it to the Super 6. So, that's it was about time that Giant did this with the TCR in general, and we knew this was coming down because we saw the pro team CCC that's sponsored by Giant use a new TCR, so we knew this was happening, and it's finally nice that we have it here. Now, I'm just giving you guys some background knowledge just so you guys are kind of caught up to date. Now, one thing I'm going to say before I go into the specs of this bike is that it is retailing for $2,000. Now, now this bike, which is the TCR Advanced 2 KOM, which is from 2020, if you're really looking for a bargain, most likely when this bike comes out officially, which it is in some regions, this bike is still a really good bike to get your hands on. I'll tell you guys why you might want to go for the TCR Advanced 2 2021, or why you would go for the 2020. If you guys do want to see that content more in depth, I might make a video, so like the video and subscribe, so then I know you guys want that content, but I'll give you guys my thoughts. So anyways, let's look at the bike. So other than that, you have the new TCR geometry. So you have the little arrow flares right here near the rear tire. They changed the tubing, so it's called ellipse tubing, which just changes the airflow around the bike, making it more aerodynamic. They changed the fork, so it's a little bit stiffer, and compared to the one I have, I think it's a little bit, the wheelbase is a little bit wider, which I guess improves stability and rigidity. But I really have to get my hands on one of these bikes. Yet again, that's the whole point of growing the channel, so I can actually test it and give you guys my thoughts, right? But from what I can see, you can make a pretty good informed conclusion based on all the media that's been talked about for the new TCR. So I would say it's definitely, like I said, needed with today's technology, and other bike companies doing the exact same thing with all using their aero bikes as inspiration and adding those key characteristics to the all-around bike. But I wouldn't say it's significantly different, right? Just from aesthetically, they don't have drop seat posts, they don't have drop seat stays at the back. It's still pretty high up there, and that's because it has a sloping top tube, where like other bikes, like basically very similar geometry that they still have on the 2016 TCRs in terms of geometry. So nothing really changed there. Now, one thing I found interesting, guys, is that the TCR Advanced 2 KOM that I have from 2020 has a compact chain set, which means that it's a 50-34, where here it's a semi-compact 52-36, which I find very interesting. So right here you can see that the crank set is a 52-36, and mine's actually a 50-34. So mine's a compact. I find it funny how they call it the Pro Compact. So I guess that's their way of saying semi-compact, which I've already touched up on this on my review of the bike, is that I find for the fitness that I have with the amount of racing that I do and the fast group rides and the training that I do, you can somewhat experience some, freewheeling, where like when you get to a certain speed, you start spinning out. That was the word I was looking for. You start spinning out, but then again, it's not the end of the world. Like, you will not get dropped, because yet again, I can pull up the calculations. I'm going to do a video on this also, why I find that a compact chain set is very good even for mid-tier or to elite racers. Just because you're usually not going to spin out, because you'll only spin out when you're going super fast, and that's only for sections, right? Then again, if you're racing elite, or you're riding at a high caliber where you're averaging 45 to 50 for a good section, then you could spin out. But I can pull up the calculations where like from the numbers, you would have to be able to like hit 65 steadily to really be dropped, right? So then again, I find for the type of riding that I do like a semi-compact, which is a 52-36 crank set. But I suggest for the majority of riders, especially you guys watching, if you guys aren't into racing and just looking for all around good fitness training bike that does group rides, you might do some low level races, or some fondos, or just charity rides, where you want a really key budget performance bike / race bike. It's kind of disappointing that they didn't put easier gears that would allow people to get better at spinning. And that's the thing I always touch up on my videos is that, the reason why a compact chain set, which is this here, right, guys, meaning 50 teeth on the big one, and the inner one has 34, the reason why that's so important is because it lets you spin easier. And if you're new to cycling, understanding that is hard because you see a lot of older riders really push the gear. And that used to be popular, 10 years ago, no, 20 years ago. Like, you got to push a big gear. And that's totally warranted if you can push out, the watts. But what they've learned over time is that if you can push the watts just as same as when you would be pushing a big gear, but you can push a smaller gear and be more efficient, it's just way more efficient. Like, I don't want to get into the science, but just remember, small gears are good, okay? Now the rear is an 1130. I think the one I had, is 1134. So the biggest cog at the back has 30 teeth, where mine has 34. Yet again, it's a little bit nicer when you do hit those steep gradients. You will be wishing you had a 34 at the back, but 30 is still fine. Like I said, this bike is definitely amazing for the value. So getting into the nitty gritties, you get a full carbon frame. So that's nice, along with the fork. Now it's not Giant's top tier carbon, but the carbon is nice. It's the same carbon. They might have improved it for the 2021 TCR, but more or less it's going to feel the exact same or very similar to the carbon that I have. It won't be noticeable. It has a full 105 group set, which you usually don't find at this price. This is $50 cheaper than my 2020 TCR Advanced 2. So, for 2,000 USD, you're getting a full carbon frame and fork and a full 105 group set. You're not getting a cheaper crank set. So a lot of times on these budget, bikes, performance bikes / race bikes, they cheap out on the crank set. You don't get that here. You're getting a full 105 crank, front derailleur, rear derailleur, brake calipers, and that's amazing. That's amazing. It's basically the same bike that I have in the back. Now, in terms of tires, you're still getting Giant's Gavia AC1 tubeless. So the tires, guys, I'm actually going to make a full review on my channel. These tires are surprisingly really good. Usually on, stock bikes, the stock tires that come on these bikes, or just bikes in general, are pretty terrible, right? But since Giant has over the years gotten better with their in-house manufacturing from their components, which is their saddles and stems and their handlebars, their tires are really good. So I really had a good experience running tubeless tires, which are Giant's Gavia AC1 tubeless, and these are 28s. So that's the biggest difference, guys, is that the rim brakes, usually you could max out at 25. If you would push 28, you run the risk of it rubbing, especially when you're out of the saddle. But for the 2021 TCRs, they increased the tire clearances on the rim brakes to 28 millimeters and on the disc brakes to 33 millimeters, which is amazing because, we're slowly learning, a lot of people are learning that, if you can be a little bit more comfortable, you will appreciate it. So even if you lose a slight performance benefit for training rides, you're not racing, right? So you want to be comfortable because I touched up on this. Comfort means you can ride more, which means you can be stronger, right? So really nice to see 28 millimeter tires, so wider tires. It's going to be super compliant, especially when it's tubeless. You can run lower PSI, which is going to absorb a lot of the road vibrations. And other than that, I would say it's a very good, solid bike. The only thing I also want to note is that I wasn't a fan of, and I really do need to ride in person to see how it feels, is that the cabling goes through the down tube, which I don't know if I like that much. If you guys want to see right here, you see the cable go down the down tube. On my bike, it goes just on the top tube, which I think looks cleaner. The bike looks amazing when it has electronic gearing, but that's my only pet peeve, and also I'm not a fan of that because it would rub on each side, most likely, unless you shrink wrap it or make it a little bit neater. But that's the only thing I really want to test out to see if it would interrupt my riding experience. But then again, Giant's not the only company that's having the cables go through the down tube. You see it on Cannondale, you see it on Specialized. So it is what it is. I guess it's just what they need to do for now. Then again, I like the 2021 because it doesn't have that. But other than that, this bike is a super solid bike. I'll give you guys my overall thoughts now, is that for 2021, having the wider tires, if you want more comfort, totally makes sense. The bike is improved, so if you're looking for slight better aero benefits, the bike is going to be a lot more aero than the one I currently have, which is 2020. And other than that, very, very similar to the 2020 edition, other than the fact that it's a little bit more aero. And it has a different gearing, so this is a semi-compact. And the last point being that they changed the slight look of the bike as well, just from certain things with the ellipse tubing. So other than that, if you want to see me ride this bike, I really do want to make a video where I compare the 2021 TCR to the 2020 TCR. I would love to get these bikes in hand, so I'm going to ask nicely. I know I say this all the time in my videos, but it does work, guys. If you want, I would always watch. Okay, the video is pretty much done at this point, so I'll just share my thoughts. Is that I would be on YouTube and I'd be like, you know what? I'd love to see the TCRs be compared, or I would like to see the TCR versus the Defy, or the TCR versus the Propel, and that content just doesn't exist on YouTube, especially with someone that's gonna make a good quality video, getting the bikes in hand, giving a fair test, and just putting the work in. That lacks on YouTube. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something about it. I'm going to, get that content going. And, I love the fact that I have such supportive viewers that, want to see that content as well, and are going to support me making that content. So, if you guys want to see, this new TCR being ridden, it's not going to be hard to give you guys a thorough review. And what I mean by thorough is easily, 300 kilometers, 400 kilometers within a week on the bike is not challenging. I ride roughly 500 kilometers a week, so getting testing on bikes is not going to be hard. So if you guys want to see content like that, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm going to plug my Instagram and my Strava in the comment section below, because yet again, if we want to get better content, we need to be active on all social media for brands. So I'm just putting that out there now, because like I said, if we can get the YouTube family here grow faster, if we can get the Instagram to grow faster and the Strava, getting these bikes are going to be so easy. And at the end of the day, guys, I want to make the best content, and I want you guys to have the best viewing experience, because being a viewer myself, I see a lack of that, right? So if I can fill that void and help a lot of people, which I've already been in the past 2 months, so I'm really appreciative that you guys are actually liking the video and taking something away from it. That's the whole goal, is to give you guys value. That's what I'm here to do. I'm more than happy if I can help you guys make good informed purchases. And that's going to go for not only Giant bikes, but any bikes that I talk about on my channel, or any products I talk about on my channel. That's what I really want you guys to do. I don't want you guys to make the same silly mistakes I did. And I'll talk about those experiences in future videos. So if you guys want to stick around for that, you know what to do. And also, just a quick plug. I want everyone to know that, I do talk about bikes on my channel. I do compare bikes, but there's tons of content coming down in terms of outdoor riding, in terms of outdoor content. It's warming up in Canada, so I was kind of, stuck on the computer for the time being. But as soon as June really, pops off, there's going to be gravel rides, there's going to be adventure rides. Racing, unfortunately, is canceled, so I can't give you guys that content, but I will fill it in with maybe some pro stuff. Just tons of content. Also, story time. I'm planning on doing some story times about my experiences at the bike shops that I've worked at in the past, and also just funny stories about cycling and just anything, training, a lot of stuff coming. So if you guys are here, I hope you guys are here to stay. And that, the content is only going to get better. I know I keep saying that, but, it's just really important that I emphasize that, because I want you guys to have a good experience. And if that means me being consistent, putting out the content so you guys stay engaged, that's what I'm here to do. And until the next one, keep on pedaling.